Good afternoon, everyone. Good to see you. Our presentation is about a case study, ZHANG poisonous milk powder incident. These are group members. My name is TANG. This is content of table. The whole research is divided into 5 sections. I'm responsible for illustrating the first 3 sections. Well, speaking of ZHANG, I believe most of you guys have heard about this incident before, and some of you might be still clear about this incident. I have to say, it was a piece of breaking news that shocked Chinese people, even the world, a lot. Our group did a further crisis analysis project based on ZHANG poisonous milk powder incident. Let's get it started. Firstly, let me briefly introduce ZHANG. It was established in 1956, a corporation that set feeding, processing, research, and development at organic core. With the rapid development, the brand was regarded as one of China's famous brands. Before poisonous milk powder incident, ZHANG was even ranked number 1 in the dairy industry of China top 100 enterprises list by Forbes in 2006. So this company had a great period of history. However, they made a fatal mistake to bury themselves forever. A profit-driven behavior of illegally adding melamine to the milk powder resulted in bankrupt in 2009. The company was finally acquired by ZHANG Group the same year. Amid we doing the research, 3 theories applied. They are chaos theory, situational crisis communication theory, and image repair theory respectively. Chaos theory is also called the butterfly effect. We believe that crises come about through a series of small, interlinked events. It is usually a number of separate but related incidents that cause a crisis to occur. SCCT divides crisis into 3 types: victim, preventable, and accidental. It actually suggests that crisis managers have to choose the most effective crisis response strategy in accordance to the crisis type. IRT, namely image repair theory, focuses on reputation or image and how this can be repaired after attack. It contains 5 strategies: denial, evading responsibility, reducing offensiveness, corrective action, and mortification. We did do a comprehensive investigation regarding case background. In 2008, June 28th, the first infant patient was admitted into the Department of Urology in the first hospital of the Chinese People's Liberation Army in Lanzhou. Till September 8th, the hospital had received 14 patients, who were all babies, suffering the same disease. The next day, this incident was reported by Lanzhou Morning News, indicating that these 14 babies had drunk the milk powder produced by the same company. 2 days later, a report in Oriental Morning Post pointed the fingers at ZHANG, quoting the analysis from doctors. ZHANG stated the incident and recalled the milk powder produced before August 6, 2008. However, there were several hundred tons of this milk powder on the market. That night, the Ministry of Health indicated that the milk powder produced by ZHANG was suspected to be contaminated by melamine. Since then, the incident had attracted great attention globally, and the preventable crisis of TANG milk powder had arisen to ZHANG. As this picture showed, apparently ZHANG poisonous milk powder did harm a great number of infants' health. Some of them suffered from the serious disease, even death. The cost is great. Great drove some people commit crime. Afterwards, relevant national department took quick actions to handle this case. On September 12, 2008, the ZHANG municipal government initially determined that criminals add melamine during acquisition leads to the problem of the milk powder. On September 17th, Tian Wenhua was arrested. Ji Chuntang, mayor of ZHANG, was removed. On September 21st, more than 10,000 infants and young children were hospitalized due to using milk powder contained melamine. 4 children were officially confirmed dead. On September 22nd, ZHANG, Director of General Administration of Quality Supervision, Inspection and Quarantine, resigned because of the poisonous milk powder incident. On January 22, 2009, Tian Wenhua was sentenced to life imprisonment based on the crime of producing and selling fake and inferior products, and was fined more than 20 million yuan. On February 12th, LIU Group went bankrupt. On February 28th, food safety law, which passed by 11th National People's Congress, would be implemented since June 1st. This incident ended up with the reformation of food law. Okay, well, next, let Liu Wenxuan further analyze this incident.
What LIU did in terms of crisis response. Long story short, during pre-crisis phase in March, when LIU started receiving consumer complaints, they chose to remain silent. During the crisis response phase, where the butterfly effect expand, many infant health issues occurs on the news. LIU denied on all of them and denied on milk powder quality problem, yet secretly recalled some products. During the post-crisis phase, September 1st, 59 infant victims, 4 dead. The night, LIU has admitted that 700 tons of milk powder were contaminated. They attempt to bucket passing the responsibility to dairy farmers, but seem like nobody is buying it. The image repair theory was crafted to understand the communication options available for those, whether organizations or persons, who face threats to their reputations. In LIU's response analysis, we discovered that LIU adopted a strategy of denial and evading responsibility in the 3 crisis phases, but they failed to serve as an effective measure in this case. The situational crisis communication theory can help us define the exact situation of LIU in this particular crisis. The theory suggests that crisis managers should match the strategic crisis responses to the level of crisis responsibility and the reputational threat posed by a crisis. By evaluating this crisis type, crisis history, and the prior relationship reputation help to predict the level of reputational threat of LIU. And the LIU case is to be categorized into the intentional cluster crisis type. In other words, it was preventable according to the relatively positive prior history and the reputation of LIU. In this case, LIU is the intentional cluster who knowingly placed people at risk when they took inappropriate actions and violated the law and the regulations. When they firstly deny and hide the truth about the product quality problem. Secondly, they secretly recalled products and delayed to report to the government during March to April, which caused the increasing number of victims who is unaware of the product quality problem situation, therefore aggravated the damage, which make this case illegal and socially unacceptable. Why we think LIU has failed to crisis responses? First, it's time. Nearly 8 months after the crisis has broke out, LIU finally officially responded and apologized to consumers on September 18th. Second, they visit individual consumers to ask for cancellation of online posts in the form of compensation, such as providing their products. Third, cooperate with the media to delete negative information online. Fourth, in the face of consumer complaints, product testing results, LIU repeatedly performed with ostrich mentality, which is bury their head in the sand to avoid, to conceal the truth, and lied. According to the theoretical analysis, we came up with a few suggestions. The contingency of conflict management theory tells that during crisis at a given point of time, before organizations adopt a stance in crisis communication, they have to work in some key factors as they consider the decision before going into crisis communications. Therefore, in the pre-crisis phase, instead of keeping silence, we think LIU should generally assess the crisis type and investigate on their product while internally select and train a special crisis management team to come up with plans, such as pay a visit to the consumers, give them promises that LIU will be responsible if there is a product quality problem in exchange for some crisis management preparation time. At the same time, they should take actions in detecting the products to find out the truth and be responsible. Crisis management team are in charge for active participation in this case instead of a passive acceptance. In the crisis response phase, Instead of denial, secretly recall products, and delay report to the government, Sanlu really should not procrastinate, and the responses should be consistent, transparent, and accurate, where you cannot deny and hide the truth about product quality problem at the first place, and then finally passively admit after huge disruptions. At this point, we want to cope physically and psychologically with the crisis, and the first priority is to protect stakeholder safety, and Sanlu should promise and take corrective actions on product quality detection while recall all contaminated milk powders as soon as possible. And they should compensate to consumers, including their medical treatments, and take economical and legal responsibilities. On the other hand, to cope psychologically with this crisis, Sanlu should express sympathy and explain its corrective actions in details. And instead of delay to admit, bug passing and delayed apology, Sanlu really should give a full apology to show they acknowledge the crisis, accept responsibility, include a promise not to repeat the crisis, and express concern and regret in form of official apology to the public. For example, Haidilao brand has published an official letter of apology after they investigate and notarize the sanitary problems. The letter first admitted the mistake, expressed in an apologetic tone. Second, willingly accept any upcoming economical and legal responsibility. And lastly, they are open to cooperate with any further investigations. And the same strategy could be applied in Sanlu's case. During the post-crisis phase, we acknowledge some damages are once caused and never undoable. Sanlu paid its economical and legal price. But on a moral level, Sanlu should conduct PR strategies to express their confession for regeneration of brand image. For example, Sanlu should conduct public benefit activities on victim consumers and keep in contact with the media, spontaneously post related information to intensify publicity of their renewal. Propose to other dairy product companies in the nation to alert same situation from happening once again. Also, planning and implement a series of PR events for image repair is necessary. However, this case crisis management was a total failure. It distanced itself from accountability, including denial, evading responsibility, shifting blame, and blustering. Sanlu's socially irresponsible attitude and wrongdoing antagonized the public. Apology and compensation were under tremendous social pressure, but it did little help to repair its tarnished image. Sanlu's crisis ended in bankruptcy, and trust in China's food safety eroded. We highly suggest that taking responsibility, sincere apology, maintaining candor, corrective actions, openness to the audience and media, and fully transparent disclosure of information are key factors in dealing with this crisis case. This is the reference to our study. Thank you for listening.